Hello. To continue from the last podcast episode about hiding yourself, I'm going to talk about keeping your secret. You should really keep your secrets secretive. You have to be very careful what you share on social media. You have to be very careful what you share, what you give to others. You don't know who's online watching you. It's already bad enough that you have to watch your back, against your friends and family members, because you don't know who's there is going to rob you. It's doubly so for social media. It's even worse for social media, right? Because that the law, the statistics that shows that the only people who rob you are people that know you, right? The people you know. Guess what? This also applies to social media, right? Every time you post on social media, people who don't know you will now know you, and that's the problem. The people who didn't know you before will now know you. The people who didn't have any motive to rob you will not have motives to rob you. If you keep showing your wealth off on social media, guess what it will attract? It will attract people that will be more inclined to come and steal from you than they were before. The people who didn't know you before, the people who didn't know you had a Lamborghini will now know that you had a Lamborghini. The thugs in your neighborhood who didn't know you had a Lamborghini will now know you have a Lamborghini. The corrupt cops who didn't know you have a Lamborghini, sitting in your garage, will now know you have a Lamborghini. The corrupt politician who didn't know you have a Lamborghini, in your garage, will now know you have a Lamborghini. The greedy billionaire who didn't know you have a Lamborghini in your garage will now know you have a Lamborghini. And guess what will happen when these powerful people know you have a Lamborghini and they have a strong desire to take it from you? Guess what happened? You'll be robbed. That's what happened. So, and not to mention the fact that there's also, the people also have that mindset of, if I can have it, you can have it either. If a billionaire or someone very powerful sees a quality in you, you keep showing off a quality that they don't have. Guess what? They may come to your doorstep and try to stop you, try to kill you, try to rob you, or try to manipulate you to stop doing what you're already doing, or they may just kill you. That's what you have to be careful of. Beautiful women, talented men, handsome men, whatever you want to call them, people that have qualities within them. If they keep showing it off to people, showing off around dangerous people, and these people end up trying to manipulate your way into your life, guess what happens to you? It's only a matter of time before you become the pet of a drug king, before you become the pet of some violent lunatic that could harm you, that could come and ruin your life. Someone that starts, trying to control every single thing about you, every single thing about your life. You have to be very careful, because there's so many people that are very controlling. There's so many powerful people that just like they treat other people like pets. So if you're a very talented person, or you're someone that has a quality within you that has nothing to do with money, you will not be someone that has any money, but you have a quality within you and you keep showing it, like beauty, or like athletics, talents. There are people in this world that collect people like pets. They're very powerful people that treat other people like pets. And if a very powerful person wants to treat you like a slave, you have no choice but to be their slave. Especially in countries that have no rules, no morals. Some countries that have very powerful dictators. If the child of a dictator wants you as a pet, you have no choice. They'll come to your doorstep and you'll be their pet for the rest of your life. If you don't want to be their pet, well, guess what? They have the mindset of, if I can't have it, you can't have it either. Meaning, if they can't have you, nobody else can have you either. And guess what they'll do to you? They'll try to kill you. So you have to be careful of powerful people. You have to be careful of who you share your qualities to. There's so many kings and royalties who've been killed. You think it's only regular people that get killed. You don't due to jealousy. You don't know how many people just kill someone. Just they'll try to kill. They try to usurp the throne or usurp power. they'll tell you that so many like, what do you call them, um there have been so many rebellious leaders, and coup leaders that promise people, if we get rid of this president, if we get rid of this king, if we get rid of this politician, if we get rid of this dictator, your life will be better, you'll be happier, we'll make the world better, blah blah blah. They're trying to, they use words to seduce the citizens into helping them get rid of the current leader of the country. But the what the citizens don't know is that why are these dictators, these coup leaders, these rebellious leaders, why was the motive of them trying to take over the country to begin with? And after they've taken over the country, you realize the only reason why they wanted to take over the country isn't to make the country better, because after they get rid of the old leader, guess who gets into position? Someone even worse than the old one. It always ends up being that way, where the people just get stuck between one bad leader after another, after another, after another, because they keep expecting that the old leaders, the rebellious leaders and the coup leaders, are doing it out of the goodness of their own hearts, when the truth is they're only doing it out of greed and jealousy. When they see the leaders showing off all their wealth, when they see the leaders showing off all their powers, all the benefits of being a leader, what do you think all the generals, their generals and fellow politicians will be thinking? They'll be thinking, if I had that, my life would be great too. You had so many good things in your life, man, as a king. You had so many good things in your life as the president of the country. You have so much power as the dictator. I want that power too. And if I can't have it, you can't have it either. That's what fuels these leaders. These rebellious leaders aren't thinking about the people. They're thinking about how much power they can have. They're so jealous of the people in position of power, because the people in position of power keep showing off their wealth. They keep showing off all the good qualities of being in a position of power in front of greedy people, in front of greedy generals, in front of greedy politicians. What do you think will happen if you keep showing off your wealth in front of greedy politicians? What do you think will happen if you keep showing off your wealth in front of, and power, your wealth and power in front of greedy generals? Naturally, they'll try to take it from you. They'll try to seize it from your hands. And how do they seize it from your hands? By getting people behind them, by telling people how bad of a person you are. They will malign you. They'll make endless false accusations against you, just so that they can take the power from you. They don't care how they seize power. They just want power. You showed them all the benefits of having power without the downsides. Now they want power. They want your power, and they want to take it from you. And they'll try every way they can. Whether they'll try to be the kind, benevolent, rebellious leader that's there for the people. Any way they can. If they have to appear as a kind person in public, the kind savior who's there to help the country, bring real liberation across the country, they'll do that. They don't care how they get power. They'll manipulate their way into power any way they can. And once they have power, they start doing whatever they want with it. This is why there's so many leaders, who've taken power from the previous leader through coups and through rebellions, and end up just betraying their own country. And it happens all the time. You see, haven't you seen presidents, United States, before they become presidents, they keep promising all these benefits. They say they'll do this, they'll do that, they'll do this, and then when they become president, they do the equal opposite. Do you know why they do the equal and opposite? It's because they never cared to begin with about the people. They wanted power. Their greed. When the president of the United States keeps showing off all the good qualities of being the president of the United States, who doesn't want to be the president of the United States? All the power that he can have, all the money he can steal from the people. When he can steal so much money from the people being the president of the United States, and all these people are watching you all over the country. All the politicians are watching you. All the senators are watching you. All the generals are watching you. All the billionaires are watching you. Steal money easily from the people, making one lie, creating one lie after another, gaslighting the people after another, and just finding different ways to steal money. Finding, and not just the money. They're having the power to just kill anyone you want. Label them a criminal, label them this, label them that, label them a terrorist, and you can just easily just wipe them out. And the people will just, they just have to accept that you just killed someone. There's nothing they can do. The most they can do is impeach you. While you're the president of the United States, the most they can do is impeach you. And that's if it works. If you have enough people, if you have enough friends and connections in the government, it makes it almost impossible for them to impeach you in the government. So if you have enough people, you can do whatever you want, as a president of the United States. What do you think that will happen to people who don't have that much power? What do you think will happen to them in the minds of generals who watch you just use power anyhow you want, to do whatever you want as the president of the United States? What do you think will happen? It makes them jealous. They want that, They need that. If they can't have it, you shouldn't have it either. That's the mindset. If they can't have it, you shouldn't have it either. So what do you think they'll do? They'll try any way, shape, or form to kick you out of the office. That way they and their friends can get in. Either they or their friends, it doesn't matter. At least someone got in. If their friends can get in, they can manipulate their friends to give them, deals, money. They can even assassinate people using their friends. This is the power of of the presidents. So if the president of the United States keeps showing off all the good qualities of being the president, what do you think will happen to him? You'll have so many jealous people, so many greedy people watching them like a hawk, preying on them. That's what that's what's going to happen to the president of the United States. That's what happens to every kingdom. That's what happens to every leader has to deal with greedy people that keep watching them enjoy all the wealth, all the good qualities, all the benefits of being a leader. And all those benefits just makes them jealous. Makes them so jealous, so greedy for what those guys have that they'll make up any excuse. They'll tell the people any excuse they can possibly find, any reason to go to war. That way they themselves can have power for themselves. They need power for themselves. And that's the problem with showing off what you have to others. Whether you're a leader of a country or you're just a regular person, showing off the good qualities of yourself to others will only incite jealousy and hatred. There's so many people. Naturally, there'll also be people who'll be proud of you. I'm not saying there aren't people who'll be proud of you. There'll always be people who'll be proud of you, who will like you for it. But the chances are, out of 10 people that like you, out of 10 people, 8 of them could like you, 2 of them may not like you. But it doesn't require much. It only requires one person for you to kill you. Only one person is required to kidnap you. Only one person. So out of all those 10 people, if 2 of them decided to conspire against you, guess what? That could mean a life and death situation for you in the future. So you have to be careful what you share to others in the future. You have to be careful what qualities you want others to know, especially on social media, especially when you don't know who's watching. Social media, you can't really fathom the number of people, the number of powerful people have nothing better to do than, they scroll through social media on a daily basis. People who can send assassins to your doorstep within an hour. People who can find your location within a few minutes. And send people to your doorstep out of anger, out of jealousy, out of greed, to steal what you have. These people exist in this world, and they have a lot of power, behind them. So you have to be careful what you share on social media, because you don't know who's watching you. You don't know whether, the cartel boss is watching you, the child of a cartel boss, the family member of a cartel boss is watching you. A mobster leader is watching you. Or, the president of the United States is watching you, and he wants what you have. If he wants what you have, well, there's the CIA, the FBI. There's so many secret services that can, help him get it. Pry it from your hands. So you have to be careful, what you share to others in the future, because you don't know what's going to happen to you. You have no idea what's gonna happen. You don't. You can only control yourself. That's what you know. That's really how life is. You can never control what other people do. You can only control what you do. So you think they'll react a certain way. You think if you share them, if you show them how much money you make them happy, you make them jealous. You have no idea how they'll react to anything you do. You only know how you react. You know, so you have to be careful of how other people react to your behavior, to what you show them. If you show them something very lucrative, something very valuable, you have no idea whether they'll be jealous of you. You have no idea whether they'll thank you for it, or you don't. You have no idea whether they'll, instead of being jealous, instead of being happy for you, they start to hate you. You can't control the emotions. You can only control yourself. So in order to help yourself not draw violence to your doorstep, not draw violent lunatics to your doorstep. You have to control what you share to others. You have to be careful what you share to others. You have to decide every time you want to share something. If someone asks you a question about X or Y about you, you have to be careful. You have to think things deeply. Is this something that someone that someone could use to harm me in the future? Will this possibly harm me in the future if I share it? If it doesn't harm me in the future, do I even have to share it to begin with? Would there be because some things there's a risk and a reward to everything in life. Some things are worth the risk, some things are not. For example, if you want to get a job, it's worth the risk to tell your boss all the good qualities that you have, because the risk is your boss will get jealous, he'll try to kill you. The risk isn't that high. It's not that risky for your boss. The chances of your boss getting jealous if you're trying to kill you because you have great qualities isn't that high. So but the reward is you get hired for a job. So you have to really think about the risk and the reward for you sharing every single detail about your life to others, especially on social media. And let's just say the risk of you showing your wealth on social media is way too high for the reward. People who like you will like you regardless of how much money you make. If a person only likes you because you have money, they don't like you. They only like your money. If they only like your money and you don't give it to them in the future, guess what will happen to you? They'll try to steal it from you. If they come to your doorstep simply because you have a lot of money, it means they don't like you. They only like your money. And if you're a smart person, some people like playing with fire. They know that some people only want them for the money, so they use money to manipulate them. They'll give them money, little bits here and there to control and manipulate them. And when they get tired of using that person, they'll dump them. If you're that type of person, go ahead. I don't really care. If you're that type of person, I really don't want you to do something like that. But if you're that type of person, if you know how to manage your money, if you know how to manage your risk and rewards, and you like, if someone is valuable to you, but that person will only be in your life because that person will only be in your life because of the money that you have, but you don't want that person leaving you for example, an employee. If you don't want that person leaving you because hey, you don't want to give him money because he's only around you because because of the money. That friend only wants to come around you when you have money. That friend only wants to come around you when you give them money. If you don't give them money, they don't want to be around you anymore. But that friend is very valuable. That friend has qualities in them that you don't have, or they have qualities in them that you like. So sorry about that. I got a call, so I had to answer it. But yeah, you really have to be careful. What you share on social media. You have to be very careful what you share on social media. If you're someone that have if you have someone who you think is valuable, who has who brings value to your doorstep. I'm not telling you to manipulation. Can only get you so far, but you don't want to lose friends because some people know the type of people who only come around them when they have money. If you know someone that only likes you because you have money, just know that if you stop providing the money for them, something bad could happen to you. They could get greedy, they could try to steal the money, with their own hands, or they can plot your death. They can even try to, ruin your reputation. They'll start making claims about you that aren't true. They'll try to, they can even say you assaulted them, you did this, you did that, just to sue you for money from the government. So this is what you have to deal with greedy people, is that if they can't have your money, if they can't have your money using normal means, just pretending to be a friend, they'll try to steal your money in some way. They'll try to rob you from it. They'll try to rob it from you. They'll try to, use the court system. They'll try to, make accusations against you. There's so many ways that, people try to steal from you. If they can't steal from you the normal way, and they don't think they can kill you, and kidnap you, then they'll try to use the court system. They try to, say you did this to them, you did that to them. If they can prove it, even if they can't prove it, even if it's a lie, as long as they have enough evidence to prove their case, that's enough for the government to give them, to grant them the verdict, to make you guilty of it. So yes, people can lie and still win in court cases. So this is what you have to be careful of. If you keep showing off your wealth to people, right? Or if you keep showing off qualities within you to people, and you try to take that quality from them, you try to, draw yourself away from them, or you try to take that money away from them. You don't want to give them money when they come to your doorstep. You show all these qualities, you show all these things to people, and you draw them to you, right? Now that you have them, what do you think what do you think will happen? You drew people to your doorstep because you have a lot of money, but the people you drew to your doorstep are the rich. Are the greedy ones, the ones who only came to your doorstep because you had money, thinking that somehow you can make them richer, thinking that somehow you spend money on them, and then when they come to your doorstep, they realize you're not spending any money on them because you never expected to be spending money on them to begin with. You're looking for friends. You weren't looking for slaves. You weren't looking for employees. You were looking for friends. But you're looking for friends using money. Looking for friends using money, guess what? Will only draw people who want money from you. Will only draw thieves to your doorstep. Will only draw greedy people who only think, who live life worshiping money. And people who live life worshiping money, you bring them to your doorstep and you don't give them money, guess what will happen to you? They'll try to steal from you. They'll try to rob you. They'll hate your guts. These people will hate your guts for being a greedy person. Even though your expectation of bringing them to your doorstep wasn't to give them money to begin with. You never expected, many people never expect that, hey, I'm looking for friends, and to give money to. No one makes friendship thinking that, hey, I'm gonna make friends that I'm gonna spend all my money on. I'm looking for a wife that I'll spend all my money on. No, not many people are looking for wives or girlfriends or boyfriends, to spend money on. They look for people to hang out with, to spend their lives with. Not people to just give money to, like an employee, or So that's what you have to be careful of. If you use money and wealth to draw people to your doorstep, the people you draw to your doorstep will expect you to spend money on them. They expect you to give them money. And if you don't give them money, they'll start to hate you for it. They'll start saying you're a greedy person, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And if it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend and you sleep with them, guess what? In the future, they can say you raped them. They can make a false accusation against you, just so they can bargain with you, to close the case. That way you can give them money. There's so many celebrities getting falsely accused of crimes just so that, the celebrity can give them money, to give the accusers money just to shut up. It happens so often where, and that's what happens when you use money to draw people to your doorstep, is that you're only drawing greedy people to your doorstep. If you use money to draw people to your doorstep, you're only drawing greedy people to your doorstep. And if you don't know how to manage people, if you're not the person who spends money a lot, stay away from people who come to your doorstep for money. If you're someone who spends money a lot, you have to be careful, because some people are very, very greedy. Even if you give them $1 million and you have $1 billion, they'll think you give them too little. And these people, that's what you have to be careful of, because even if you draw people to your doorstep, you don't know which ones will never be satisfied. No matter how much you give some people money, they will never be satisfied with the money you give them. So if you're someone who knows you have no friends, and the only chance of you having friends, the only chance of you having a social group A social network is by spending money on people, and you're fine with that. If you're fine with that, you have to be careful of the people that will never be satisfied. No matter how much money you give them, they will never be satisfied. These people you have to run away from, because if after you spend all your life savings on them, and at some point in time you decide, hey, I don't want to waste all my money on you. I just can't waste all my money on you. I'll go broke and I'll become a homeless person. I want to start saving money now. Guess what they'll tell you? They'll say you're a greedy person. You're a greedy person who betrayed them. And once they start thinking, you betrayed them and you're hiding money from them, they'll try every way possible, try to steal that money from you. The remaining money that you have in your bank account, they'll try every possible way to steal it from you. And that's what you have to be careful of, as someone who has value or qualities, is that some people are very, very greedy and they'll never be satisfied. If you draw people to your doorstep using qualities that they don't have, some people will never be satisfied until they can take everything away from you. They can rip everything away from you. If they can't do it using manipulation tactics, if they can't do it, pretending to be a friend, they'll try to do it using violence. They try to do it using threats. So you have to be careful in the future when when someone asks you questions about yourself, what you should share to them. You have to be careful what you share to them, because if you share things that makes them jealous, if you share things that make them greedy, it's not going to end. Your friendship is not going to end well. Your relationship with them is not going to end well, because greed will control their mind. Greed will control their behavior from then on. The desire to acquire what you have will control their behavior from then on. And you may not like the results of it. There's too many crimes happening in this country. There's too many crimes happening across the world. There's so many crimes in every city. You'll be baffled the amount of crimes that happen in every city of the United States. Just go to there's so many apps out there, news apps out there that allows you to tune your news feed to just to a certain location, to a certain city, or to a certain county. Do that, you see that every single city has so many crimes going on every single day. There's so many crimes. There's so many accidents. There's so many things happening that could later become crimes. And this is the world you live in. This world isn't a utopia. This is a very dangerous world with very dangerous people all over the place. If you keep thinking that this is a safe world where you can start showing off everything you want and nothing bad will happen to you, you're living in a dream. This is the world where anyone, whether you're rich or poor, can be harmed for no reason. No matter how powerful you are, whether you're the president of the United States, he has to deal with coups and rebellions and civil wars, and assassination attempts. This is what the president of the United States has to deal with on a daily basis. And this is the most powerful man in the country. Even the most powerful man in the country isn't safe. This is how dangerous the world is. If you keep thinking, you can do whatever you want in this world without any repercussions, you're lying to yourself. If you keep showing qualities that makes people jealous, that makes people hate you, that makes people greedy, in front of extremely violent lunatics, that could be your friends or family members, you have to be very careful, because it's not going to end well for you. You have to be very careful of how, what you share to others on social media, what you share to others around you, around you, what you tell your friends or family members, what you tell the people you date. Do not show off more than you should to the people you date. Some of these, I've seen there's so many news over the years that I've watched of people, of dates going wrong. It is so baffling how many men and women get killed, during dates. It's almost unbelievable, the sheer volume of people who die, going on dates with random strangers they don't know. It's so baffling, man. All because these people keep showing off what they shouldn't be showing off to these people. If you keep showing off your wealth to random strangers, guess what? These random strangers that you meet on dating sites, some of these people are thugs. Some of these people are criminals. They haven't killed someone yet before, but they'll start with you. And this happens way too often. where the men or the women start showing off qualities within them to random strangers, and then going out on dates with them, only for that random stranger to kidnap them, take them to somewhere quiet and kill them, and then steal everything they have from the bank account. Try to use their credit cards, their debit cards, to buy whatever they want until they get caught. This happens to women. This happens to men. So women would date men, that just come to their doorstep and just kill them. It happens way too often. And it also happens to men as well. Men will go up, will chase women, show them all their wealth, and then when they end up dating them, this woman then brings, a bunch of people to the date, and then robs them of them. He'll lure the man to a quiet location or a hotel room where people are already there, and then they'll kill and rob them. This happens way too often. So you have to really be careful what you share on dating sites to random strangers, what you share online to random strangers. You don't know how many dangerous people exist in this world, but you have to be careful, because even the president of the United States has to be careful of his actions. That's why he always has bodyguards around him. No one is free from violence, man. No one is free from murder. Even the most powerful people in this world have to fear for their lives. So if you think nothing will happen to you if you keep showing off your wealth, guess what? Even the president of the United States right now can't just walk out without fear that something will happen to him. So be cautious in life, and that's it for this podcast episode. Sorry it took so long, to say this, and it took like 3 episodes. But, that's all I have to say for it, Sorry about that, but I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.